speaker of the session. Speaking of the industrial perspective, current situation is likely to accelerate digital transformation initiatives for business across the globe as they are forced to face their weaknesses and vulnerabilities. Technology-led business models will emerge as more critical and important than ever and will play a key role in defining the strategy as we reimagine the global supply chains of tomorrow. With these words, I would like to call our final speaker of the session, Shri Rajneesh Kumarji, Chief Corporate Affairs Officer, Flipkart Group. Prior to Flipkart Group, Shri Rajneesh Kumarji has been an engineer by training and pursued his MBA from INSEAD, France, and executive education from Stanford Graduate School of Business. He is passionate about shared value creation and driving responsibility business agenda. With a career spanning over 2 decades in government and private sector, Mr. Kumar is a noted thought leader in industry on policy, public relations, creation of shared value. He leads corporate affairs for Flipkart operations and overseas and direct strategic government engagement, public affairs, media, internal communications, CSR, philanthropy, sustainability initiatives, and adding to helping drive long-term strategy. Prior to Flipkart, Mr. Kumar was Chief Corporate Affairs Officer of Walmart India, responsible for managing the overall reputation of the company through government relations, public affairs, strategic communications, CSR, and sustainability. Mr. Kumar also serves on the CII National Committee on Marketing and FICCI Committee of Retail and International Trade, FICCI E-Commerce Committee, in addition to American Chamber of Commerce in India and Retail Association of India. Before joining Walmart India in September 2013, he served in leadership roles across several countries, industries, and government. He led corporate affairs strategy in India for Global AG, a biotech leader, Monsanto. In addition, he has served in senior management position for VSNL for the Government of India as a part of senior management cadre of Indian Civil Services and spearheaded the Indian business of a large European healthcare PE fund. Without further delay, I would request our final speaker of the session, Shri Rajneesh Kumarji, to kindly begin his deliberation.
Videsh, thank you so much. And I think it's a very exalted company that we have here. Most of the stuff that I wanted to talk about, Rakesh sir has already sort of touched upon on majority of those aspects. So I'll only talk basically as a practitioner because I have been involved in some of those responses and efforts to sort of bring back the supply chain, which has got badly impacted in this unprecedented health crisis. And on that, while he has looked at all the important aspects that different components in the supply chain are not talking to each other, and not looking at a holistic aspect of where the products are, where the people are in terms of labor. That's also an important component, and what potentially can be done. But I would recount. I got a little delayed while coming to this seminar, and the reason was Karnataka government, when they looked at farmers who are not able to sell their mangoes because of issues, because of lockdown. You know what they thought about? Can they leverage technology to sort of expand the reach of farmers? And I was actually very happy and surprised, pleasantly surprised, that there are different factions across all stakeholders who are looking at leveraging technology to sort of create sort of mass impacts. So, for example, after this one, many of the farmers in Karnataka would be able to sell their mangoes on Flipkart Marketplace. Imagine the same conversation last year when we did with them. They were not very willing. They did around 2,000 boxes of mangoes. Today, the expectation right on a day when we started it is around 20,000 plus boxes which are already sold. So the technology can play an extremely important role, especially in bringing the supply chain issues together. And I know in the beginning, ma'am also talked about more macro phenomena, what's happening globally, and our ambitions on becoming sort of attracting a lot of the manufacturing in India. But yeah, let's get to the basic issues that we have today, and maybe we'll loosely touch upon what technology can do. And of course, there is a lot of work which we're actually doing to make it happen. You would hopefully see something in next few months, not to be quoted right now outside, but yeah, there is a lot of work happening on it. So when I look at the three problems which are more pressing from a supply chain perspective, which country is facing, is one is, of course, is a highly disrupted supply chain. You are aware, all of you are professionals, from a learning perspective, there has been issues on, there's a mismatch, geographical mismatch and demand supply, right? Similarly, there are issues which are policy issues, there's no, the blur or the divide between essential and non-essential is another one. There's a migrant workforce, which is unavailability and restrictions on travel. Similarly, the second problem would be sort of high unemployment. You must be noticing that companies have been forced to lay off workers due to some demand. Demand has gotten significantly down. Many companies are cutting back because there is uncertainty ahead. Similarly, there are forced shutdown because of containment efforts, which are affecting contract labor. And of course, social distancing necessities also preventing labor ramp up. These are all real problems which almost all companies in retail supply chain face. And third one, of course, is the crisis hasn't gone away, right? While we are talking about lives and livelihood, I think the issues remains what happens if there's a recurring infection and the disruption because of that. People talk about second wave, third wave. I think we are still grappling with how do we sort of contain fully the first wave. And and workers are very anxious, from a safety perspective, what can be done, and this is actually hampering ramping up of the supply chain. Now, what can be done actually? How can technology, and I think it will summarize only to some extent what senior panelists have spoken earlier about this. One is there are three things which I'll touch upon. One is on tracing. Second will be sort of decision making using data, and I think it will also touch upon the conversation which Mr. Professor Rakesh mentioned about that different systems across the country are not talking to each other, and how do we sort of use that data. Third is what the digitization can actually help in this whole bringing it much more efficient. And when I say digitization, I actually mean the supply chain, which also include international supply chain. So, by the way, just to sort of intervene here in between with additional data, we also, when we looked at issues that were arising from a supply chain disruption perspective, where trucks were stranded on the road, migrant workers are not available, we actually created a lot of ecosystem partnership, including with railways, postal, mom and pop kirana stores, getting online cab aggregators into the play so that customers have access to products at their doorstep. So we have tried to sort of not just leverage technology to sort of making it efficient, but also build ecosystem partnership. Now, three things which I'll sort of before, I know we are over time already, but I'll be very quick on this one, is in terms of, if the question is about the rapid scale of supply chain, which means scaling transportation, scaling warehouses, storage, and making sure that we have sufficient workers. The three key aspects under that head would be, we need to get visibility of transport assets across the country. We need to get visibility of warehousing and logistics and storage assets. Similarly, from a decision data perspective, we need to make sure that we are able to forecast demand so that there is a viable scale up. We don't want a situation where you're scaling it up, but demand doesn't exist because customer is actually is very uncertain about the future, and they are not sure they're not intending to buy do some discretionary shopping. On digitization front, I think the two pieces which I would really want to sort of highlight is how do we digitize documentation and digitize regulatory approvals. In this whole COVID process, one of the struggle for us has been, for example, we got a call in between from one of the senior officials in the government saying, Azadpur Mandi is sort of full with agriculture produce, but nobody is buying. Can you guys help? Now, getting those approvals from APMC was such a task. It was impossible because all of them wanted to people to come back to the offices, sign up forms, and do all sort of offline work to make it happen. So yeah, there are significant opportunity from a digitization of approval perspective. Now, the second piece, which I thought I'll just mention, is how do we anticipate and prevent disruptions in future? And I think that's, again, under three heads of tracing. One will be health status tracking for workers, tracking infection status at a company and branch level. Similarly, from a data perspective, how do we predict potentially infected workers and companies to quickly quarantine and mitigate the risk? And on digitization perspective, viable digital tracking capability, availability for all companies and workers. So what it will do, it will actually connect companies with manufacturing setup. Similarly, it will also connect in terms of what does the labor availability look like in your in your neighborhood, which is healthy and can actually come to work. And with this, the third point is really about how do we sort of increase employment, because that remains a pressing problem always in India with a billion plus people sort of working here. Is how do you scale up employment with safety, and how do you increase the productivity of workers? We should talk about health status of workers. On data is real-time risk prediction in health status of workers based on the location they have visited. And on digitization perspective, it will be viable digital tracking capability across all workers and dispersal of digital passes and containment zone. If some of you would have seen the papers at the time when we were in the beginning phase of lockdown, this was one of the struggle. You're not sure how to get passes. How do we make sure that we move products to consumers when they need it? So essential, non-essential, I talked about. And second was this one of the massive one. People were getting beaten up on the road by authorities because they didn't have a clear instruction. So coordination between state and center also sort of created a lot of issues. So I think, but having said that, I think in a summary, technology can actually play a vital role in all aspects that I just mentioned about, which will not just help in knowing and tracing our assets that we have and how do we sort of leverage them in a safer manner. And we will need to, of course, do policy enablement. I'm not even getting into the political nature of retail and e-commerce or of supply chain, because that's another massive one which can become very, very controversial, and some of you may relate to those topics. But yeah, as a country, I think we need to do a lot more. It probably won't happen by just. I know we have been speaking a lot about all these things, but we need to take very, very proactive steps so that we can take advantage of the crisis to solve for it for long term. And today, technology thankfully allows us to do it, irrespective of whether you are in developed nation or developing nation. From a technology perspective, we are actually far ahead of many developed nations. And I think the opportunity is real and large to sort of make a difference here. Viresh, back to you.
Thank you so much, sir.